Lesson 80, we're going to look at spheres and hemispheres, or half of a sphere. Now, a sphere is just basically a three-dimensional circle. Think of a basketball or a soccer ball, whatever. The main thing you got to know about a sphere is you still got a radius, and we're going to use that in our surface area and volume formula. S for surface area, like we've done in the past, V for volume. Formula for surface area is 4 times pi times radius squared. Volume is 4 over 3 times pi times radius cubed. So let's look at a couple of examples real quick. Kind of combine example 1 and 2 because the math is really easy, but it gives us an example 1, a sphere with a radius of 5. So we know our formula is 4 times pi radius squared. So we simply plug in 5 for our radius. And then we solve. Order of operations, got to do the squared first, so 25 times pi times 4. So 4 times 25 is 100 pi, and it wants the answer in terms of pi, so it'd be 100 pi inches squared, since we're doing surface area. And that's all you have to do for surface area. Pretty easy, you just got to know the radius. Now let's look at volume of the sphere. Example 2 here. Example 2, it gives us a radius of 13. And wants us to find the volume. Well, volume formula is 4/3 times pi. Radius is 13 cubed. So, order of operations, we got to do 13 cubed first. So 13 cubed is 2197. Okay. Now, how I'm going to put this in my calculator is I'm going to, imagine this is over 1, I'm going to multiply the numerators, 2,197 times 4, and then divide that by 3. And that gives me roughly 2,929.3, repeating, pi. And it wants the answer to the nearest hundredth, so I multiply that times pi and get roughly 9,198.11 feet cubed for my volume. So that's how I do a sphere. The volume and surface area of a sphere. So now let's talk about a hemisphere. A hemisphere. So let me erase all this. Now a hemisphere, formulas are pretty close to similar. Surface area of a hemisphere, all we're doing is dividing by 2. Okay? Because we cut it in half. So rather than 4 pi r squared, we do 2 pi r squared. But since we're doing surface area, we got to also add the area of the base here, the area of the circle. So 2 pi r squared plus the area of the base. And then the volume, you simply divide your formula of 4/3 pi r cubed, divide that by 2, and you get 2/3 pi r cubed. And then you can solve. You could totally use this formula and just divide by 2 at the end if you wanted to. I prefer to start with 2/3 pi r cubed. So now let's look at example 3. It wants us to find the surface area. So surface area equals 2 pi r plus b, 2 pi r squared. And it gives us a diameter of 12. So if our diameter is 12, that means our radius is 6. So 2 pi radius times 6. Oh gosh, you can't see that because of the glare. Try to move it here. No, here. I'll write it down here. 2 pi. That's better. Okay. Then plus b. B is pi r squared because our shape here is a circle. So our area of the base formula is pi r squared, so we know pi times 6 squared. And then we solve. So 36 squared, or 36 pi there. 36 is 6 squared times 2 is 72. And it wants the answer to the nearest hundredth. So 36 plus 72 is 108 pi. I put that in my calculator, 108 times 3.14. Get 339.12 for my surface area. And I don't remember what it is. Let's call it inches. So it'd be inches squared, since we're referring to surface area. Inches squared. So that's surface area. Now volume. Volume for this shape. I'm going to erase this. If you need that, you can rewind. But volume, our formula is 2/3 pi r cubed. Well, our radius, we talked about, this is the diameter, so that means our radius is 6, so 2/3 pi 6 cubed. 6 cubed would be 216 times 2/3 pi. So once again, I'm going to multiply 216 times 2 and then divide by 3. Gives me 144 pi. Once it in terms of or nearest hundredth, so 144 times pi gives me 452.16. 452.16. And since it's volume, that means it would be, if it's inches, inches cubed. Volume's always cubed. And that would be how you find the volume of a hemisphere. And that's how you do spheres and hemispheres overall.